In this episode of Akram's Ideas, I'm going to show you how to make this super quick and super delicious pineapple lush cake. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome. I'm Akram Burris, and you're watching Akram's Ideas, bringing creative and crazy ideas to life. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own pineapple lush cake. This super quick and super easy recipe features a golden sponge cake layered with pineapple cream filling and topped with beautiful strawberries. It's the perfect cake for a springtime get-together. Because this cake is super easy, it's part of a new series I like to call Quickie Bakes, or in some cases, no bake. It takes only a few minutes to put together once the cake's ready to go. So without further ado, let me show you how to put it together. To make our pineapple lush cake, there's really only a few ingredients you need. Obviously, you're going to need a cake, preferably a sponge cake or an angel food cake. And you can make this super easy by buying a pre-made cake. I'm actually going to be using a sponge angel food type cake that I made using a standard cake mix. And I will have in the comments below the link to the video that shows you how to make that cake. The cake right now is cooling, so as the cake cools and everything, I'm going to whip up the pineapple lush filling. And it is super easy. Basically, there's three ingredients. There's a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapples with the juice inside there still. And then you're going to need a cup of Cool Whip and a 4-serving package of vanilla pudding. Now, one of the things that I like to do is make all my recipes sugar-free. So I'm actually using sugar-free Cool Whip, sugar-free Jell-O, and then no sugar added crushed pineapples. So this is a great light recipe if you want to go with a sugar-free ingredients. Otherwise, you can just use the standard type of Cool Whip pudding and crushed pineapples. So basically, all we're going to do is we're going to take our pineapples and I'm going to pour them into this mixing bowl here. So I've got my pineapples in there. And basically, we're going to take our Jell-O pack here, our pudding pack, and we're going to mix the pudding into the pineapples where the pudding is all completely dissolved. And that's why it's important to keep the juice from the crushed pineapples in there, because that's going to help dissolve the pudding. And you don't have to stir a whole lot, just a little bit to get it all in there. It's a pretty simple recipe. And then basically you're next going to go ahead and dump in your Cool Whip and get that stirred in there. One of the great things about this recipe is you don't even need a cake. This filling makes a wonderful fruit dip. You could just put it in a little bowl and then serve it with strawberries and grapes and melon. It's delicious on its own, but it does make a fabulous cake, which you'll see here. So now that our filling is completely mixed together, we're going to go ahead and get started on layering the cake with it. So I have here my sponge cake that I made using a bundt cake pan, and I'm going to basically layer this into 3 layers and fill with the pineapple filling. Now, there are different ways to do this, different ways to slice up your cake. My favorite method is actually using a serrated bread knife. I find that this cuts really nicely, and it's my favorite way to cut a cake. My cake has split open slightly after I was taking it out of the pan, which is sometimes common, it happens. However, since we're going to be filling it and layering it, it's not going to be a big issue. So even if your cake isn't beautiful coming out of the pan, don't worry about it so much, because once you start layering with the filling and putting the filling on top and everything, it's going to look just fine. So I'm going to start by slicing this. So I've got my bottom layer here on this little cardboard cake round, and I'm just going to come up a little bit, about 1/3 of the way up, and I'm just going to slice into this. Again, my goal is to have about 3 layers of this cake. So you're just going to kind of estimate a good section to cut. And I've got this cutting board here that I'm going to take this first layer here and I'm going to set it over on the cutting board. So here is my first layer of the bundt cake. So now that we have our first layer prepared, I'm just going to take some of my filling here and basically just spread it around the cake. And you can put as little or as much filling as you want in here. There's really no wrong or right way to do this. This is one of those cakes that is so super quick and easy that there's really no way to get wrong. It's gonna taste good no matter how you make it. So that looks pretty good right there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this top half of the cake and I'm going to go ahead and cut it a second time. So I'm going to come up just right about there. It looks like that's going to be a good spot. Lift it back on to my original cake and I'm going to take off this top layer so that I can go ahead and spread more filling. And again, you're going to put as much filling as you think works. You're going to want to make sure that you have enough to put on the top as well. You need a little bit to put on the top. And finally, you're just going to put the top layer back on there. And we're going to cover the top with this. Now, if for some reason you've ended up with a little too much filling, I would suggest even putting some down the center cavity here of the bundt cake. That's one of the fun things about a bundt cake, because it has that center hole. You can actually add filling to that as well. Now, my last little thing that I like to do with this Pineapple Lush Cake is to top it with strawberries. And again, there's no wrong or right way to do this. It's just however you want it. And these are just some fresh washed strawberries that I'm kind of layering here at the top. Now, alternatively, you can slice up strawberries and actually put them between the layers if you like. I think I'm actually going to toss a few in the center here to add to the strawberries. And there you go, the Pineapple Lush Cake. So there you go, your Pineapple Lush Cake. It really is that easy to make. And like I said, it doesn't matter how it turns out because it's going to be delicious either way. Speaking of delicious, it's time now for me to go ahead and cut into this cake. So I've got my little cake cutter here. So here is my Pineapple Lush Cake. I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite. This is so good. The cake is light and fluffy, and the pineapples and cream just add to that whole flavor. It is a wonderful treat and perfect for springtime weather. I hope you guys have the chance to try this cake out, and if you do, please let me know what you thought of it and how it turned out. As always, don't forget to follow Akram's Ideas on social media or subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.